Good Friday with Fontes, everybody. Adrian Fontes, Arizona Secretary of State. Again with us today, Laura Tarek, the Executive Director for America 250 Arizona, Arizona's semi-quincentennial. I love saying that word.
It's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
We're getting everyone used to it.
Semi-quincentennial. If we say it enough, we'll get used to it. Happy to have everybody with us. We just had an election on Tuesday, and from the election administrator's perspective, we did really well, Arizona. There were some issues in Apache County, without question, and that's problematic for some of those voters. And then there were some other things that happened. We saw some bomb threats with no credible ascertainment to them. No one was ever in harm's way. Those threats were all over the state, but it seems like they came from foreign adversaries. We cannot attribute that 100%. But I wanted to bring that up right off the bat. We've been getting a lot of inquiries about that. Once our federal partners get a little bit more information on those, then we're going to be bringing that information to you. But as far as access is concerned, lots of people voted. That was great. Tabulation still continues. Arizona does it a little bit more slowly. We're hoping that we might be able to work with the legislature this spring. Seems like people are motivated to kind of get that counting. You just came out of the legislature not too long ago. What do you think? Do you think we might be able to fix this thing?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of options there, and we certainly have safe and secure elections, and if we can get them going a little faster, I think that people would be very happy about that.
I absolutely agree, and I think most people would agree. I am of the mind that the way we do it right now is just fine, unless we want to change it. And if we want to change it, I think we should do it in a smart way that does not cave in any parts of access that voters have. That's really where we come from. Wanted to thank everybody who participated. Thank you everybody who voted. And a very special thanks and shout out to all the folks who are still working. They are still working all over the state of Arizona. For those smaller counties that are done counting, they are doing their audits. They're doing their post-election processes. They're getting ready to do their canvass, which is the official report and then certification for each of those elections. Our folks are helping where they can across the state. So thank you for all of the election heroes out there who do it year in and year out. Elections are still going strong, and we're doing well in Arizona. The statewide canvass is going to be on November 25th. That's the Monday of Thanksgiving week. On the 20th, which is before that, is when the counties have their deadline. So all of the counties will be canvassed by November 20th. We'll do our canvass on November 25th. And then eventually we'll have the Electoral College meet for the presidency. The governor will do her certificate of ascertainment by, what's the date? December 11th. Is that right? I think that's right.
I think so.
Yeah, so we'll be good to go to meet all of those deadlines. So all of that's good. One of the important reasons that we've got Laura here today is because of the logo contest for Arizona's America 250 Commission. Why don't you talk to the folks about that a little bit?
Yeah, so if you didn't get enough of voting on the 5th, we have another opportunity for you. So we had logo submissions from all over the state for all ages who wanted to be a part of helping Arizona celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the semi-quincentennial.
Semi-quincentennial. Say it with us, folks.
Semi-quincentennial.
Okay.
Be glad we're not Colorado. They are celebrating their statehood's 150th at the same time, so they have branded theirs the Sesquisemi-quincentennial.
The Sesquisemi-quincentennial. Is that never mind. Let's just go ahead.
Bold
Let's not
and
worry
it's
about
right.
Colorado.
We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But we have, our commission selected 10 beautiful logos to represent Arizona, and they're going to be used for things like merchandising, maybe even a license plate. But we need your help in deciding which one among the 10 will represent Arizona for 250.
Now, when is that going to be available for folks to look at the logos and kind of start sharing around and figuring out which ones they want?
Absolutely. So you can go to the Arizona Secretary of State website, azsos.gov, that's G-O-V, beginning November 12th, that's Tuesday. And you can look at those finalists and vote. That contest will run through December 12th. And be sure to follow us on social media as well to learn a little bit more about each logo, the participants, and that's it, America 250 AZ on all platforms, at America 250 AZ.
So we're excited about the logo contest. Again, voting begins on November 12th, ends on December 12th. So it will be a month-long process. Go to azsos.gov starting Monday to do that. But before we get all the way to Monday, which is going to take us to our book, we got to talk about Sunday. Listen, Sunday is, you don't know this.
I don't know this.
You don't. It's the Marine Corps birthday, ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest celebrations in the history of all American celebrations. In 1776, on November 10th, in Tun Tavern, the United States Marine Corps was born. That's in Philadelphia, by the way. And every year, the Marine Corps celebrates its birthday on November 10th. Fun fact, the next day is Veterans Day. So Veterans Day holiday coming up on Monday. And Veterans Day brings us to one of our favorite veterans, I think one of Arizona's most famous veterans, a man who not only followed a great family career in the military and is part of the great American military tradition, but served as a United States congressman and as a United States senator. And so today we wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to the late Senator John McCain. His book with Mark Slater is called Faith of Our Fathers. Faith of Our Fathers talks about both of his grandfather and his father, who were both four-star admirals in the United States Navy. I don't know if you knew that. So a lot of people don't. John McCain is just part of a long family tradition. His sons are continuing that, serving our country. And so our book recommendation for the week, Faith of My Fathers. Did I say Our Fathers? Faith of My Fathers is the name of this book. John McCain, an Arizona legend, and definitely one of the folks who really has garnered a lot of respect from Arizonans over the years. So don't forget, on Sunday, November 10th, every November 10th, every Marine you know, wish them a happy birthday. They will feel very, very special. And you know, us Marines, we like to feel special. And then on Monday is Veterans Day. Make sure you hug a veteran or whatever, because they served for us. Okay. Before we get to the questions, I wanted to talk just really briefly about Tuesday's election. Again, went real well. We're still in the middle of figuring out who's going to be winning which races. A lot of races have been called by the media, but we don't have official results in Arizona yet. Official results will be done when all of the counting is done. Arizona law requires that certain processes happen with each of those late ballots that come in. That takes time, so that's why it's taken a little while to do all of this. Please be patient. Those things will be coming soon. The projections that you're hearing on a variety of different races, however, are projections based on math. They're not official numbers. So we don't have any official results in any of these big races as of today. And that's just because we don't have official results yet. They haven't come in yet, but we will be getting them soon. And hopefully we'll be done. Canvases for the counties, again, November the 20th. And the statewide canvass, I will be signing that on November 25th. Now we're going to go to some questions. Do we have a question online?
Yeah, there's one question. Can you tell us about propositions, the ones that pass? When do those go into effect, and how does that work?
So the propositions will go into effect when it just really depends on what the law says, how it was written, the constitutional amendment for abortion. I think that goes into effect immediately on canvass. So when we sign off on it on November 25th, I believe that's how it works. That's a really good question. But there are some different standards depending on where we're at. So don't quote me on that one. But by the time we get to the end of November, I think that one's going to be that one. And I think that's one of the only ones. Oh, no. Then there was the other one, 314. Was that constitutional or statutory? I can't remember.
I believe that is statutory.
That's statutory. So that one might have a different effect date. But there's like different ways that we do stuff in Arizona. It's kind of goofy. So that's a great question. We'll get some of that information to you next week. And we'll make sure to answer those questions if you guys want to make a note of that. That'll help us kind of clarify those things to find out when those will come into effect. In any event, they won't be in effect until the election is done, and the election won't be done until we sign the certification on November 25th. So this election won't be done until then, and then of course we have the electoral college stuff that is for the presidency. That will move forward beyond there. We did have one question submitted ahead of time, which I thought was really interesting, and I'm not really sure how to react to it, but I think it makes sense to talk about it. Somebody wrote in and said, will Arizona let the military round up citizens? Well, in the United States, we have this Pace Comitatus Act that was passed that indicates that the American military cannot act inside of the United States of America. It can only act outside of the United States of America. Pace Comitatus is a tradition that was brought forward in Rome because at some point the Roman legions were excluded from acting inside of Rome, and that's because the Romans knew that if somebody was in charge of all the military and the military had the ability to kind of screw with people who were actually running the government that might be keeping them in check, they really didn't want that to happen. We have a little bit of a version of that in Arizona right now, as a matter of fact. When the legislature is in session, legislators can't be arrested. That's just the way it works. And the reason that is because people who created these laws didn't want the executive, who's in charge of the police, to be able to keep the legislative branch from doing their work. Because the legislature represents the people, the executive was elected to run the government. So there's where a lot of that balance comes into play. I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. At least I don't see any indications of that right now that would cause me to be concerned. But there's people speculating and asking the questions, and I think that's fair. So without any more questions, we don't see any more online. That's going to be it. Laura, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you, Secretary.
I really appreciate all the work you guys have been doing on the commission. And again, logo contest starts when?
November 12th.
And what website can folks go to after November 12th to vote?
azsos.gov.
azsos.gov. For Laura Tarek, Executive Director of the America 250 Commission for Arizona, and me, Adrian Fontes, your Arizona Secretary of State, we bid you a happy and a safe holiday weekend. Remember, while it's not swimming season much anymore, still watch your kids around water. Take care.